Hey everyone, Myth here, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And before we progress further, because basically like 2 steps from here, right in this cave's chamber, there's going to be a fight. Before we go there and do that, let's level up Imoen, who is now going to be a level 8 mage. That means she gets more level 3 and level 4 spells, which is exactly what we need. So here we should probably go with some kind of a cookie cutter selection. We have quite a few scrolls of slow, whereas, for example, for spell thrust there are no scrolls. We have some skull trap scrolls. For certain encounters, minor spell deflection might be a good choice, or like Melf's minute meteors might be pretty good. We have flame arrow and fireball we have from the wand. So for now I think I'm going to go with like 1 slow to just complete like a cookie cutter selection. Maybe I'm going to go with a second haste later. And here on level 4, Secret Word, for example, is a very interesting spell, but we're going to use that heavily in Baldur's Gate 2. Because in Baldur's Gate 1, Spell Thrust is better. Just let's discuss the difference between these 2 spells shortly. Because this one dispels all of the spell protections of level 5 or lower, so all of the like minor protection spells. Whereas Spell Thrust only dispels 1 spell protection, but it goes up to as high as level 8 protections. So it can dispel quite a few more of them, or quite a few higher ones than Spell Thrust can. But like I said, this is something for Baldur's Gate 2. In Baldur's Gate 1, mages don't really have those protections. I think I'm going to just go with like Confusion for now, so that we have 2 nice level 4 AoE disabling spells on level 4, because like, for example, Spirit Armor, we have a lot of scrolls for that. Spider Spawn is just like not that good at this point. Improved Invisibility is a really important one, but we're going to make way more use of that in Baldur's Gate 2. There's also Minor Globe, but I don't have a particular encounter for it in mind. Plus we have some scrolls for that. By the way, doesn't it look like a smiley face in the Minor Globe icon? Anyway. Okay, now we have to prepare for this fight. There's going to be 4 guys here. 1 fighter mage, 1 mage, and 2 fighters. Kind of ranged attackers. One of them is going to be an archer with acid arrows, and the other one is going to be a dart of stunning throwing guy. So a relatively dangerous group. So let's start out with some buffage. I think Yeslik is going to drink another potion of strength. Yes, I think we might even use a potion of defense on Kiranai. Yep. We are going to summon our nymph for this fight. She should be pretty useful. Kiranai is going to prepare with the greenstone amulet. Senashira still has the potion of invulnerability, which is pretty nice. You can do the AoE heal to like top us off. Yeah, you might cast this. Imoen is going to go with haste. Yeslik is going to go with maybe remove fear. And then just sanctuary, because I don't want my haste to go to waste. I think we're going to allow ourselves 1 arrow of detonation from Koran. And now Yeslik with sanctuary. You can see that here are the 4 guys. And by the way, like 3 of them, if you read their names backwards, those are actually like real life names. Matt, Lucas, and Rob, I guess. But anyway, Sakul here is their mage. Prat is the main guy. He's a fighter mage. He's a pretty tough one. And Tam is the archer with the acid arrows, and Bor is the dart throwing fellow. So Yeslik is going to approach from here. The nymph is going to approach closer. The nymph isn't going to like aggro them or anything. And also Imoen is going to prepare here. Senashira and Kiranai are going to approach from the right, I think. And actually Kiranai is going to give maybe 1 potion to Yeslik to throw, and 1 of those to Senashira to throw. just to soften them up a little bit at the beginning. And Jaheira should... I don't want to go through this corridor because I think right here Pratt can have vision. By the way, also one important, well, maybe not that important, but kind of a noticeable thing about those 4 guys is that only 2 of them are evil aligned, and the other 2 are neutral aligned. So Holy Smite isn't going to be that effective if we decide to use that on Yeslik. So that's why I gave him a potion that is going to damage all of them. And Koran should move closer. Alright, so let us approach. Wow, she took the long way around here. Alright, our nymph is going to start casting confusion already.
Yep, this way.
You need something, stranger.
Alright, no matter what you say here, it's going to result in a fight. We can try to pretend that we're Saravok, or with Saravok, but he's going to immediately know that we're lying.
Yes?
Alright, let's throw our stuff. Now Jaheira is going to stand back, and Imoen is going to go with Emotion Hopelessness. Just anything we can throw at them to disable them. That are also level 4 spells or above, because you can see that Pratt's prebuffs already triggered. And both him and Sakul are going to have Minor Globe, so we need something to bypass that.
What is it? Such menial tasks.
Nature servant or the group.
I think I damaged, yeah, Senashira with that.
I am here.
Yeah, so Sakul is near death from that. And the thing about Sakul is that he doesn't have mirror images, so I think we're going to rush him right away. Yeslik is going to try to limit the damaging capabilities of this guy, of Tam, because he has these acid arrows and he can be pretty dangerous. And you know what, Koran is kind of late to the party with that arrow of detonation. I think I'm just going to use him to add some damage so that we can deal with, actually deal with the mage first, deal with Sakul. Alright, both Bor and Tam got unconscious from that, and Pratt and Sakul saved versus spell, and those are actually the 2 people that I care the most about getting disabled. So that's a little unfortunate. Bor also got confused by that confusion, finally. Oh! That's nice, Pratt got confused. He's right there, invisible. Alright, so now everyone, we need to focus on Sakul, take him out. And then provide someone for Pratt to hit on. Or to hit,
Yes.
I guess not hit on. So that he reveals himself
It is done.
from invisibility.
What
Alright, we
is
can
it?
just finish out these guys. Okay, he revealed himself. Let's kind of try to trap him so he can't run off.
What?
And now
Fine.
we're going to
Concern?
finish him off.
Such menial tasks.
Alright, so just throw in a ton of disabling spells, and that is going to provide you with some success, I guess, is the tactic.
Menial tasks.
And he's done for. Alright, nice. Nice. And while we're here, I want to disarm this trap. Because there are 2 caves with spiders, 2 spider nests. One is over here, we're going to clear that out in a second. But the dangerous thing is that if they start running away and stuff, you can actually, you know, while chasing them, you can trigger these traps accidentally, and those are web traps, and those can really mess you up, mess up your plan.
As you direct.
Alright, so here's a sword spider and a phase spider. Phase spider wasn't too improved when it comes to his teleportation abilities this time.
For the group. I am here.
Alright, some more experience for us.
It is done.
We're going to loot these guys in a second, but since we still have haste active, let's make use of it. Oh, you might have... One of the traps is here, and the other one, yeah, is up there.
I am certainly.
Alright, let's charge. Charge in. just go with your usual selection.
Sense of pleasure is spontaneous. Great peril yields great beauty.
Okay, now we're pretty much safe to move anywhere in this cave, and now we can actually loot these guys. And before we do so, I am going to clear out my scroll case a little bit from all of these letters that we don't need anymore, like letter to Krill. This is Dynaher's journal page. These ones are like letters to Malahay and stuff like that. So I'm going to just put them on the ground here. Maybe when some Candlekeep guards come down here, they're going to uncover all of this stuff. Yeah, letters from Daviorn to Tazok. Letter from Realtar to Drasus to hire his group. All that is going to go. We're just going to keep the letter from Elminster to Gorion and the Gorion's letter to us, of course, because he's our father, and I am not going to get rid of that. Oh, this is the note about the items of Balduran from Vale. Okay, this is Saravok's letter to Zalimar, Saravok's letter to Realtar, yeah, and correspondence from the Knights of the Shield to Realtar. Yeah, this was the Ogre Mage. 10,000 gold offer to hire the Ogre Magi. Money well spent, huh? Anyway, maybe we'll still have these two notes because they are so relevant to the story. Maybe we want to take a look at them again about the whole ball spawn legacy. Alright, now we're going to have way more space in our scroll case for some of the loot that they will provide us with, because they have actually quite a few scrolls. So that was the darts of stunning guy. Okay, let's bunch up with everyone so we can just transfer the items quickly without any problems. Okay, so 18 more arrows of acid. That's very nice. Koran loves those arrows. Another potion of invulnerability. We're going to be able to stack these darts of stunning. I should make use of these. They are pretty good, although they do allow a save versus spell, but the base amount of attacks for dart is 3 per round, so you still get a lot of chances. And you can have a potion of strength there. Okay, now the other guy, Sakul, died here. He has a couple of spell scrolls that are pretty decent. I'm not going to take strength. I'm going to take haste, of course. This one I'm not going to take. Dire Charm, maybe slow, of course. Ghost Armor is going to be useful. And here is Wraith Form, which is a pretty cool spell that you have at your disposal in Baldur's Gate 1, and because it basically makes you immune to non-magical weapons, and that can come in handy in some situations. Although you cannot cast spells when it's on, I think. Alright, and here's where Pratt died, and he has a very notable piece of loot, which is this Returning Axe +2. It's just a shame that it comes into place so late in the game. You can't really build a character with this weapon in mind. Well, maybe. Maybe you can, because Enhanced Edition provides you with a couple of those +1 throwing axes in Teyrom's shop that you can buy at a pretty good price, I guess, and we're not going to take any of these scrolls. We're just going to take a look at this note from Saravok to Pratt. My schemes have come together in a most satisfying manner. The mercenaries who have plagued my every step are now imprisoned, accused with the murder of Realtar, Brunos, and Thaldorn. Learn as much as you can about the fate of the mercenaries, and then meet me back at Baldur's Gate. I apologize for leaving you here alone, but it was necessary to return to the city so as to take Realtar's position as Chief of Operations. If things proceed smoothly, I will be a Grand Duke within a few weeks. What? Alright. I'm just going to leave that on the ground. Maybe someone will find that. Of course, you know, this has no relevance on the actual story. This is just my role-playing mind. Actually, now, since we are approaching, we are going to see here petrified statues. So that gives us the hint that there are basilisks around. And we can use actually one of these like protection from petrification scrolls, because we have so many of them. And those are almost the last basilisks in the game. There's one more place with basilisks. And just use Senashira to deal with them. They are pretty much our last obstacle on our way to getting out of these caves. Oh yeah, I actually... Okay, I cleared out these spiders. I was just about to say that, you know, there's a couple of more like passages here, but there's nothing else of interest. Those are... Oh, one more spider was here, and a trap. Sweet failure on, on my part. Actually forgot about this one. There's also another cave like this on this side, but that one is empty.
Back home, Puffguts would always tell me a story.
So there's nothing here.
I am here. It is
Anyway,
done.
everything is now dealt with,
Your concern?
and there's going to be a person that is going to initiate a conversation with us on our way out here. And normally he would just be, I think, like using a fighter model, but not really geared up or anything. A person called Diarmid,
Your concern?
or Diarmid. But
Rather, we just skip the small talk. I get right to the killing.
But in SCS, they have made it so that there is way more to this character than in the unmodded game. So he's going to appear here in the same way that he would appear in the normal game, but he also appears later
I am gone.
in a very significant manner.
Yes? As you it is done.
Right, so it's about time you got here. You got out here, Pratt. It is Pratt, isn't it? So yeah, he takes us for Pratt, and we can play along. Like, yeah, I'm Pratt. Pratt is indeed my name. So yeah, what was the point of us waiting in the crypts again? Did Sarvak not tell you? I suppose he might not have. He does have a tendency to only give information on a need-to-know basis. It hardly matters now, though. The monks of the keep are firmly of the belief that Senashira murdered the Iron Throne leaders with no provocation. Senashira has been locked away, and by the time they are sent to Baldur's Gate for trial, Saravak will have full control of the city. Senashira's fate will be his to decide. You and your band were not needed to guard the boss's escape route after all. Everything went as planned. So we can also ask him about where to meet up with Saravak. Yeah, in the Iron Throne Tower, of course, because Saravak has business elsewhere in the city, apparently, and the disgrace of Senashira will make the road smoother, but we must still act fast. Saravak is notoriously impatient. And we also can ask, like, this Saravak person, who is he supposed to be again? And, like, he doesn't get the clue. Like, that's such a stupid question, but... Anyway, here the game developers also acknowledge that the nickname Kovaras wasn't particularly clever. Yeah, not a terribly original alias, to be sure, but who is going to tell him that? Saravak is quite used to getting his own way, and I gather subtlety is something that doesn't quite come naturally to him. He doesn't have the patience for it, though his mind is amazingly tactical. Yeah. So we can now make it obvious that we are not who he thinks we are. Yeah, rather an embarrassing mistake on my part, but no matter. Yeah, oh well, must dash. You'll pardon me if I don't stay to roughhouse. Cheers. And we can try to kill him, but since this is the like fighting version of Diarmid that SCS places here, he's not as easy to kill on his way out as he would normally be in the unmodded game. Anyway, he, like I said, appears later in the game, and he is a very significant portion of a certain fight. So now we are finally free.
Life continues to be quite the challenge. You have been accused of murdering the Iron Throne leaders, and the Flaming Fist will undoubtedly hound your every step because of it. Despite all of this, you must return to the city of Baldur's Gate, the very lair of your accusers. You must find and expose the one who is responsible for your predicament. You must find Saravak.
Yep. So it is time for the last chapter, and almost the final confrontation. Yeah, so from the NPC project, Yeslik has something to say here. Yeah, we found out at last whose hand did the deed of the killing of Gorion, Seneshira. Let us make haste and find this wretch who shares your blood. Your clan calls for vengeance. Yeah, right you are, Yeslik. Onward. I'm gonna have a little bit of a longer conversation there with him. But yeah, now we're outside the walls of Candlekeep here, and we can just take the coastline, and I can teleport these guys, you know, where we need to go. But this will actually give me a little bit of an opportunity to explain what the plan is for us now. So we, of course, could go straight to Baldur's Gate City and finish the game, because the road is now open. But there is still much to do, because now is the time where we're going to tackle the expansion content from the Tales of the Sword Coast. So there are basically 3 major adventures that we're going to engage in before returning to Baldur's Gate City and finishing the game. And, well, basically one of the 3 adventures is not that of a big deal. Then the other one is not so long as well, although it is more involved. And then the crowning piece of content from the expansion is going to be Durlag's Tower, which is an awesome and huge dungeon that you can go both up the tower and down into the dungeons. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, now is also the time where we're going to... I like how all of this works both gameplay-wise and role-playing-wise, because gameplay-wise, doing the expansion content right now is pretty good because we are at a pretty high level. Actually, I'm going to escape into our character sheet. And this is actually a pretty cool moment, both gameplay-wise and role-playing-wise. So gameplay-wise, we are at a pretty good level, we have some pretty good equipment, we're perfectly ready to tackle the challenges that lay ahead. And also, as you can see, we still are not at the experience cap for Baldur's Gate 1, which is, by the way, at 161,000 experience, and Seneshira only has 111,000, so she still has quite a ways to go. But after completing all of the expansion stuff, we are going to arrive at the expansion cap. We are still quite low on the, not expansion cap, the experience cap. We are still quite low, I guess, on experience at this point in the game, because you know, we always had pretty much a full party. We never did any of these like leveling tricks and whatnot. So our experience was always pretty much split into 6 or sometimes maybe, you know, 4 or 5, but we were always running at a pretty big party. So, but yeah, if we do everything, and of course this is a completionist playthrough, so I am going to do everything the game has to offer, of course. So we are going to get to the experience cap eventually. And now also, what is pretty cool is that it also works out role-playing wise to do the expansion content now, because we know that we are going to be wanted by the Flaming Fist. We are going to be, you know, a very high priority, and we can't really directly, like, easily approach Baldur's Gate City. So this is actually a cool moment in the story to kind of lay low for a while and you know, consider what to do next, maybe formulate some new plans, maybe scout out Baldur's Gate from far away to like check out some Flaming Fist patrols and whatnot. So this seems like a perfect opportunity to set our base of operations in this remote fishing town of Ulgoth's Beard that no one's going to check, you know, no one's going to venture into, and just kind of lay low there for a while, and at the same time, you know, just while scouting Baldur's Gate maybe, and, you know, thinking or planning ahead, you know, we can also engage in some of the local adventures. And also in Durlag's Tower, as the legend goes, Durlag was driven mad by doppelgangers. So that might actually be another opportunity to gain some insight about the creatures, because we already know that Saravok uses doppelgangers extensively. So maybe there is some knowledge to be gained there on how to fight them better, how to expose them or something like that. Anyway, of course, role-playing wise, you know, your mind can roam free there, and and you can really immerse yourself into this situation. Anyway, let's get going. First, I'm going to quickly visit High Hedge. Actually,
Certainly.
there is still this house that I haven't forgotten about. We weren't able to open the chest here. Oh, some gnolls, 2 gnolls attacking our high-level party. I mean, are you really that stupid? Like, what were your chances there? What were you thinking?
Wherever fate takes me.
I've done had
So there
enough
was
of this.
still this chest that we haven't opened, but this is not because I wanted. This is not the reason why I wanted to come here. I wanted to visit Thalanter's shop for a second, because he still has some good,
It is done.
good pieces of equipment. And actually very notable pieces of equipment, not only for the reason of them being useful, but also because this gives me an opportunity when talking about this Horn of Khazgoroth, by the way. This is kind of the last unique piece of equipment that I want to get. At this point in the game, it's not going to be too useful. It gives us primarily a nice bonus to our saving throws, and you know, the armor class versus missile attacks is not going to be that big of a deal, and the immunity to like spells of level 1 and 2, this is also at this point not a big deal. Now the damage done, I think I've mentioned this item before, and this is 10 crushing damage each time you use it. So the cool thing about it is that you can actually, this damage can be soaked by mirror images or by stone skin, because you can export this item into Baldur's Gate 2 if you wanted, where you actually do have access to stone skin. Anyway, those items, the Claw of Khazgoroth and the Horn of Khazgoroth, are pretty notable, because I think in the, you know, through data mining and stuff like that, people have found out different remnants of some stuff that the developers wanted to include, but they didn't make it into the final versions of the game, so that's why mods like Unfinished Business get created. But also, I think a previous kind of iteration of the whole dream idea that made it into the final product, the final release. The previous version, I think, of encountering your inner voice was, the plan was for a couple of different like situations where you could, where you were supposed to obtain some significant items of power, and some of them didn't make it to the game, like the candle, for example, that is mentioned in those like texts of you know, different conversations and the inner voice, what he would you know, say. But there was also the horn and there was the claw. So those are definitely the horn and claw of Khazgoroth. And this is also significant because Khazgoroth, also known as Khazgorath, I think, is supposed to be the 3rd avatar of Baal, I should say, after the Slayer and the Ravager. Khazgoroth is also like a beast kind of avatar of Baal. So those are, this is why I'm going to get both of these items and have them on Sinashira, I think. Just because they are so significant to our backstory. Now that we know that we are the Baal spawn, or one of the Baal spawn, the children of Baal, you know, this is a fitting item for us to get. And yeah, basically this inner voice that would always you know, encourage you to do the evil thing, to like let someone die or kill someone in order to obtain these items. And the good way would be to, like, you know, sacrifice an item, that item in question, in order to save the life of some innocent or something like that. So I think eventually, you know, they scrapped the whole idea and introduced the dreams. Of course, can't make purchases with anything less than 20 charisma. So yeah, just a cool thing I wanted to mention. He has a lot of nice bullets, which I think we are going to get. Although we are not using slings on Jaheira and Yeslik all that much, but we need to restock on bullets a little bit anyway. So let's just buy like 8 of each maybe. And some bullets +1, why not? Now we're going to give all of that, I think, to Jaheira.
Why do I live in such a pissant town?
Now, what other potions do you have still? Okay, let's get this, because I'm not planning to visit him ever again, so this is the last chance to get some good potions and scrolls from him. But I think we mostly bought everything that I was interested in. And we can get the horn. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it all that much. I'm going to showcase a use of that at some point, at least once. But probably not much more than that. Yeah, maybe these potions of fire resistance. Oh, and of course, Sorcerer's Sundries still has a nice supply of arrows, but we can get those. We can get maybe a little bit more of these. Right, give them to Koran. Of course, the container is full. Right, I think now we are stocked pretty well when it comes to arrows +2, acid arrows. We still have some fire arrows for like less notable encounters. She has arrows of cold, arrows of piercing, arrows +1. Yep, I think we're fine on that front. And yeah, the horn is just a usable item that you can place in your quick slot. Maybe let Yeslik hold on to it for now. We also have some stuff to sell, which I think, since we are so rich and I don't want to rest and do an identification session or whatnot, let's just allow Thalanter to just identify all this stuff that we have here. Yeah, so those are all legit scrolls, no cursed ones. Yeah, Chainmail +1, Cloak of Protection +1, Medium Shield +1, Morningstar +1. This is the Throne Axe +2 that actually returns. Now we can inspect the items a little bit more closely, like this Throwing Axe +2, for example. Yeah, and it returns to the wielder's hand, so you don't have to replenish your stock of throwing axes, which in Baldur's Gate, since throwing axes weigh quite a bit, this also matters a little bit in terms of convenience of having your carrying capacity you know, challenged by all of these thrown axes. And another Wand of Fire, which I'm going to sell because we still have plenty of charges on our 2 other Wands of Fire, and since I only have 1 mage in this party, it's, you know, those are just not needed. Yeah, and everything else we've seen before.
Such a pissant town.
So yeah, we can sell the katana, the chainmail, all that stuff. And of course we have that Tome of Wisdom. I think I'm going to use the 2 other tomes on the Yeslik maybe. That would give him, if he goes to 18 Wisdom, that would give him 1 more level 4 memorization slot. Of course, he doesn't have access to level 4 yet, but he is going to have soon.
Certainly.
Anyway, I think this is going to be it for this episode. In the next one, we're going to start up on the Tales of the Sword Coast kind of expansion content. That is, of course, included, you know, in the enhanced edition, you know, Baldur's Gate. There's no difference anywhere to. Koran, please stop interrupting me. I'm trying to wrap up the episode. Anyway, of course, there's you know, all of these areas are accessible at any point in the game. I just kind of left them out to do them now. So we're going to start up on that in the next episode, which is when I'm going to see you next. So I hope you enjoyed, thanks for watching, and see you next time.